In the burgeoning industrial landscape of 1870, a shrewd 31-year-old entrepreneur, John D. Rockefeller, meticulously laid the groundwork for an empire in Cleveland, Ohio. At that nascent stage, his fledgling enterprise commanded a modest 4% of America's burgeoning oil refining capacity.
Yet, with an almost terrifying speed, his grip tightened. By 1880, a mere decade later, his influence had swelled to an astonishing 90%.
This relentless expansion continued, reaching its zenith in 1904, when his colossal entity controlled 91% of all oil production and a staggering 85% of final sales. He wasn't just building a business, he was forging a template, a blueprint for every monopolistic behemoth that would follow.
That name, etched into the annals of industrial power, was John D. Rockefeller, and the intricate system he meticulously constructed, the innovative corporate structures he pioneered, the ruthlessly effective monopolistic tactics he perfected, these weren't ephemeral constructs.
They did not crumble and fade into history when his monolithic Standard Oil Company was famously dissolved by antitrust legislation in 1911. On the contrary, they evolved.
Like a sophisticated organism adapting to its environment, they spread their tendrils, subtly morphing and permeating every corner of the global economy. Today, in 2025, their subtle yet undeniable influence controls countless aspects of your daily existence.
Consider the gasoline you pump into your vehicle, the vital pharmaceuticals you rely upon, the ubiquitous tech platforms you navigate, the sustenance you consume, the financial institutions from which you secure loans. Every single one operates, consciously or unconsciously, by the foundational principles of the Rockefeller playbook.
These strategies include the absolute command of vertical integration, the aggressive absorption of horizontal consolidation, the insidious influence of regulatory capture, and the strategic deployment of philanthropic foundations that subtly yet profoundly shape public policy and market dynamics. This creates a market dominance so absolute, so suffocating, that genuine competition becomes utterly impossible. Rockefeller didn't merely construct an oil empire, he ingeniously designed the very architecture of modern corporate control.
And you, dear viewer, cannot truly escape its omnipresent reach. Because the system isn't merely the entity of Standard Oil. The system is the profound, enduring method itself.
A method that has been faithfully replicated and meticulously refined by virtually every dominant corporation for the past 150 years. Companies like Amazon, Google/Alphabet, pharmaceutical companies, and JP Chase all leverage its principles. They all absorbed and adapted lessons from the very same foundational blueprint, the undeniable Rockefeller blueprint.
Control the entire supply chain through vertical integration. Ruthlessly eliminate competitors through horizontal consolidation. Capture the regulators, bending oversight to your will. Utilize philanthropy to strategically acquire legitimacy and public goodwill. And crucially, when the government inevitably moves to break apart your monolithic structure, ensure that the fragmented pieces you still control are individually worth far more than the original whole. In this journey, we will meticulously unveil precisely how John D. Rockefeller meticulously engineered this pervasive system, exploring how he shrewdly leveraged it to amass an unimaginable fortune, becoming the richest man in history. We will analyze the paradox of how Standard Oil's forced breakup actually made him exponentially richer, and ultimately why, even 114 years after that landmark dissolution, you continue to inhabit a world meticulously designed by Rockefeller himself. Because understanding this intricate system isn't merely an academic exercise, it is, in essence, a matter of survival. The very design of this system is to relentlessly extract wealth from the many and inexorably concentrate it at the very apex. And once your eyes are open to its inner workings, once you truly grasp its insidious mechanics, you will begin to perceive its presence, its enduring influence, everywhere around you. John Davidson Rockefeller,
Born on a modest farm in Richford, New York, on July 8, 1839, inherited a perplexing legacy. His father, a charismatic yet deceptive con man, peddled dubious remedies, instilling a practical ruthlessness.
Conversely, his mother, a devout Baptist, imparted an unwavering moral certainty and a sense of divine purpose.
This stark duality, the con man's cunning and the Baptist's righteous conviction, would irrevocably forge Rockefeller's distinct approach to commerce. He would systematically dismantle rivals with an almost surgical precision, all while genuinely believing he was a divinely appointed agent bringing order and efficiency to a chaotic world.
For Rockefeller, this wasn't mere pretense. It was a profound, unshakable faith that his expansive monopolies were not only economically sound, but inherently moral, transforming disarray into structured systems and eliminating wasteful practices.
Then, in 1859, the earth itself seemed to ignite with opportunity, as oil was spectacularly discovered near Titusville, Pennsylvania.
A frenzied oil rush ensued, drawing thousands of hopeful prospectors to western Pennsylvania. Fortunes materialized and vanished in the blink of an eye, creating a volatile landscape of boom and bust cycles, where the slightest overproduction sent prices plummeting, only for shortages to send them soaring again. It was untamed chaos.
Amidst this wild scramble, a young John D. Rockefeller, a precise 20-year-old bookkeeper in Cleveland, observed. His sharp mind saw the vast potential, but his gaze was not fixed on the precarious gamble of drilling.
Drilling was inherently unstable, a risky dance with chance. Rockefeller, with his singular vision, recognized the true, enduring opportunity lay not in extraction, but in the steady, controlled process of refining, transforming raw crude into the illuminating kerosene that powered the nation's lamps. This, he understood, was the cornerstone of a real, sustainable business.
John D. Rockefeller, a man of meticulous calculation, didn't gamble on fleeting fortune like the wildcatters drilling in Titusville, Pennsylvania. He saw the true, enduring wealth in refining, transforming crude black gold into the precious kerosene that lit up the burgeoning American nights. This was not a gamble. It was a blueprint for an empire. In 1863, with a keen eye for efficiency and a bold $4,000 investment, Rockefeller established his first refinery in Cleveland, Ohio. The city was a cauldron of ambition, bustling with over 30 competing refineries, each battling for survival. Margins were razor thin, and the air hung heavy with the constant threat of bankruptcy, a grim reaper for many aspiring industrialists. But Rockefeller possessed a genius that transcended mere price wars. He envisioned not just winning the competition, but eliminating it entirely. His revolutionary approach would lay the very cornerstone of modern corporate power: vertical integration.
Vertical integration, in Rockefeller's brilliant scheme, meant absolute command over every single facet of production. While his rivals merely bought crude, refined it, and sold the kerosene, controlling a solitary step in the vast process, Rockefeller moved with relentless precision. He acquired the noisy barrel-making factories, eliminating the need to purchase barrels at market prices.
He then bought his own sleek tank cars and gained control over the vital railroad lines to efficiently transport his product.
Vast warehouses for storage soon followed, and finally, he established his own intricate distribution networks, delivering directly to consumers, bypassing all intermediaries. Every single cost-generating step, every profit center for another business, was methodically absorbed into his burgeoning enterprise. This strategic mastery conferred upon him unprecedented cost advantages. While his competitors paid a hefty 25 cents for each barrel, Rockefeller's integrated operations crafted them for a mere 15. And the shipping? His ownership of tank cars allowed him to not only negotiate, but dictate secret rebates from the railroads, effectively turning transportation into a profit center where the railroads actually paid Standard Oil to ship its product, while simultaneously charging his hapless competitors exorbitant fees. This was no longer just about efficiency.
It was a predatory system designed to suffocate opposition. Rockefeller could now, with chilling precision, sell kerosene at prices so devastatingly low they drove rivals into swift insolvency, yet still emerge profitable himself. And he did precisely that, with an unyielding determination.
By 1870, this relentless pursuit of control culminated in the formal establishment of Standard Oil Company of Ohio. From a single, modest plant, its refining capacity had exploded, becoming the largest operation of its kind in the entire world.
Yet, even with this colossal achievement, Rockefeller only controlled a mere 4% of American refining. This was, in his grand vision, utterly insufficient. The stage was now set for the next, even more audacious phase of his strategy: horizontal consolidation.
Even after building the world's largest refining operation, John D. Rockefeller felt the grip of his ambition tighten. With only 4% of American refining capacity, it was far from enough to satisfy his vision of total dominance.
He unveiled the next devastating phase of his corporate warfare: horizontal integration. Unlike vertical integration, which controlled the supply chain, horizontal integration meant ruthlessly acquiring or destroying every single competitor in the market.
The year 1872 saw this strategy unleashed with brutal efficiency in what historians would later dub the Cleveland Massacre. Over a relentless 3-month period, Rockefeller, a man of quiet but unyielding resolve, systematically approached every independent refinery owner in Cleveland. His proposition was deceptively simple, yet utterly final: sell out to Standard Oil or face its destructive wrath.
If an owner agreed, Rockefeller, ever the pragmatist, offered a fair market value and often extended an offer of employment, integrating them into his growing empire. But refusal was met with immediate, merciless economic combat. Rockefeller would unleash brutal price wars, slashing the price of kerosene far below production cost.
Standard Oil, with its unparalleled efficiency and vast reserves, could absorb these losses.
His smaller, less efficient competitors, however, bled dry with every sale. They were trapped, forced to choose between capitulating to Rockefeller's will or succumbing to inevitable bankruptcy.
The outcome was rarely in doubt. Most, recognizing the futility of resistance, sold their businesses. A few, fueled by pride or stubborn independence, attempted to fight back, but their valiant efforts were ultimately crushed beneath the juggernaut of Standard Oil. They all lost.
By the close of 1872, the industrial landscape of Cleveland had been irrevocably altered. John D. Rockefeller controlled an astonishing 25 of the city's 26 refineries. In just 3 months, his share of American refining capacity skyrocketed from 4% to a formidable 25%. This calculated and brutal blueprint became the template for future monopolies across diverse industries: offer to acquire, and if rejected, utterly dismantle the competition economically, then sweep up the scattered ruins for pennies on the dollar.
A tactic that would echo through the next 150 years of corporate history. Yet Cleveland was merely a proving ground. Rockefeller's gaze extended beyond the city's smokestacks. He yearned for command over the entire nation. Throughout the 1870s, Standard Oil's tentacles spread relentlessly across America. He systematically acquired refineries in major industrial hubs like New York, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
Everywhere, the same ruthless tactics were deployed. Secret railroad rebates that granted Standard Oil an unfair advantage in shipping costs, undercutting all rivals. The benefits of vertical integration that ensured his production costs remained the absolute lowest in the industry.
And, most decisively, the savage price wars that annihilated any competitor who dared to resist his overtures to sell.
By 1879, the transformation was complete. Standard Oil had achieved an unthinkable dominance, controlling a staggering 90% of America's refining capacity.
This was no mere business. It was an undisputed, unassailable monopoly.
It was at this zenith of power that John D. Rockefeller's true, profound genius would reveal its next, most intricate layer:
He understood intimately the inherent vulnerabilities of such monopolies.
At this apex of power, with Standard Oil Company controlling a staggering 90% of America's refining capacity, a truly unprecedented monopoly had been forged. This wasn't merely a successful business, it was an economic colossus.
Yet, even John D. Rockefeller, with his unparalleled foresight, recognized the inherent vulnerabilities in such dominance. Monopolies, he understood, faced two formidable adversaries.
Firstly, their very existence was legally precarious. The burgeoning public outcry against trusts and cartels was already taking legislative shape. The Sherman Antitrust Act, though passed in 1890, was a storm gathering on the horizon, specifically designed to dismantle giants like Standard Oil.
Secondly, and perhaps more acutely, monopolies were universally loathed. The public, feeling the crushing weight of his control, reviled Rockefeller himself.
Caricatured in newspapers, he was branded a robber baron, a ruthless tyrant, widely considered the most detested man in America. The air crackled with resentment, protests simmering beneath the surface of the Gilded Age. Rockefeller needed not just a fix, but a fundamental reinvention, a brilliant legal maneuver to neutralize both the legal threats and the public's fury. And he found it: the trust. In 1882, working in close counsel with his most astute lawyers, the groundbreaking Standard Oil Trust was meticulously engineered. The challenge was clear. A single corporation, like Standard Oil Company, based in Cleveland, Ohio, was legally constrained from directly owning assets in other states. But a trust, a novel legal fiction, could. Rockefeller thus orchestrated the creation of a powerful central trust, a new entity designed to hold the stock of all the disparate Standard Oil Company subsidiaries across the nation. A select group of just 41 shareholders, all Rockefeller and his most trusted associates, held the reins of this trust and through it exercised complete dominion over every underlying company. This was an epoch-making innovation, the very first major corporate trust/holding company in American history. It quickly became the definitive blueprint, replicated by the Sugar Trust, the Tobacco Trust, the Steel Trust, and countless others who followed in Rockefeller's strategic footsteps. This ingenious corporate trust holding company structure allowed Rockefeller to manage a vast, nationwide monopoly with an iron fist, all while technically sidestepping state-level anti-monopoly statutes. Crucially, it gave birth to an entirely new kind of legal entity, the holding company. Unlike traditional businesses, this wasn't a company that produced goods or offered services. It was a sophisticated financial apparatus whose sole purpose was to own and control other companies. This revolutionary framework would seamlessly evolve into the modern corporate behemoth we recognize today, the parent company that presides over a vast network of subsidiaries. Think of Amazon, Google, Alphabet, or the sprawling conglomerates like Berkshire Hathaway. They are all direct lineal descendants of Rockefeller's original corporate trust holding company.
By 1904, the transformed Standard Oil Company commanded an astounding 91% of oil refining in America and 85% of all final oil sales. John D. Rockefeller had cemented his status as the richest man in the world, his net worth soaring to an unimaginable $900 million, a staggering $25 billion in contemporary currency.
But even that pales in comparison to his absolute peak wealth in 1913. When adjusted for inflation, he was worth an incomprehensible $400 billion. To put that into perspective, he was richer than Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates combined. He stands as the wealthiest individual in modern history, a titan whose fortune was not merely accumulated, but meticulously constructed through a sophisticated system.
A sophisticated system of vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, and pioneering corporate trust holding company legal structures designed to centralize and concentrate control. This was not just business acumen, this was the Rockefeller system, an enduring architecture of economic power. Yet the public was growing increasingly restive, their frustration with unchecked monopolies reaching a boiling point.
culminating in the passing of the Sherman Antitrust Act in 1890, a direct challenge to the very foundation of his empire.
The intricate machinery of control, forged through vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, and ingenious legal structures, had solidified. This was the omnipresent system that governed commerce.
Yet, beneath the surface of this colossal structure, a tide of public resentment was steadily rising, turning against the suffocating grip of these unchecked monopolies.
In response to the growing clamor, the year 1890 saw Congress wield its legislative power, passing the monumental Sherman Antitrust Act, unequivocally declaring monopolies illegal.
A decade and a half later, in 1906, the formidable investigative journalist Ida Tarbell bravely stepped into the fray, publishing her groundbreaking History of the Standard Oil Company, a meticulous exposé that laid bare the ruthless tactics employed by John D. Rockefeller.
Her words painted a vivid picture of secret railroad rebates, predatory pricing strategies, and the systematic, brutal crushing of any competitor daring to challenge Standard Oil's dominance.
The public outcry that followed these revelations was immediate and enormous, reverberating through every corner of the nation.
Finally, in 1911, the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, delivered its seismic ruling. Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and must be dismantled, ordered to be broken up into 34 ostensibly separate independent companies.
For many, this landmark decision should have signaled the decisive end, the absolute destruction of Rockefeller's formidable system. But in reality, it was far from it. It was merely the ingenious beginning of the system's most cunning evolution.
For even as Standard Oil was theoretically fragmented, John D. Rockefeller himself shrewdly retained significant ownership stakes, holding shares in every single one of those newly formed 34 companies.
The fragments soon began to take on new identities. Standard Oil of New Jersey blossomed into what we know today as Exxon. Similarly, Standard Oil of New York evolved into Mobil.
Standard Oil of California transformed into Chevron, while Standard Oil of Indiana became Amoco. And Standard Oil of Ohio, evolving into Sohio, was eventually acquired by BP, weaving a complex web of corporate lineage.
Astonishingly, far from destroying John D. Rockefeller's immense wealth, this forced breakup actually served to multiply it beyond imagination. Prior to the dissolution, a single share of Standard Oil stock was valued at around $600. Yet in the aftermath, the collective worth of shares across all 34 independent entities soared to over $2,000 per share. In an extraordinary turn of events, John D. Rockefeller's personal fortune had effectively tripled. The question loomed: how? One reason was that the breakup ostensibly forced these new companies into a competitive landscape, inadvertently driving innovation and enhancing efficiency across the fragmented market. More profoundly, the act of breaking one monolithic monopoly into 34 separate companies, each still dominating its respective regional market, wasn't a true dismantlement. It was, in essence, a sophisticated reorganization, cleverly disguising continued control. Fast forward to today, and the intricate dance of corporate power has come full circle. Most of those original 34 companies have, over time, quietly merged back together, reconsolidating their vast influence. A prime example being the colossal merger of Exxon and Mobil in 1999, uniting two giants once separated by decree. Chevron acquired both Standard Oil of Kentucky and Gulf Oil, while BP absorbed Amoco and Sohio in Ohio, illustrating a relentless pursuit of renewed dominance. The very Standard Oil monopoly that was purportedly broken up in 1911 has, in effect, reconsolidated into the modern titans we recognize: ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP. The system, with remarkable foresight, fractured itself to cleverly evade regulatory oversight, only to meticulously and quietly reassemble its pieces over the span of a century. Yet, even the reconsolidation of Standard Oil isn't John D. Rockefeller's most profound or enduring legacy. His true, lasting impact lies in the system itself, the methods,
the intricate structures, the timeless playbook for corporate control he so brilliantly devised.
Allow us to reveal precisely how this very playbook is being meticulously employed right now in our contemporary world. Consider Amazon, a modern titan that deploys vertical integration strategies with uncanny resemblance to Rockefeller's original design.
The true, enduring legacy isn't just the man or his empire, but the insidious system he perfected. It's the methods, the intricate structures, the very playbook for unparalleled corporate domination that continues to guide today's titans.
Let us now peer into the modern era to reveal precisely how this playbook is being deployed, shaping our world in ways most don't perceive. Observe, for instance, the colossal empire of Amazon, a prime example of vertical integration, mirroring Rockefeller's strategies with chilling precision.
From its humble origins as an online bookstore, Amazon has systematically swallowed the entire supply chain. It owns vast networks of warehouses, sophisticated logistics operations, its own fleet of delivery trucks, and even the intricate payment processing systems.
Crucially, it dominates the very cloud infrastructure, Amazon Web Services, or AWS, that paradoxically hosts the digital operations of many of its supposed competitors.
AWS alone is a titan, generating a staggering $90 billion in annual revenue, often surpassing Amazon's entire retail profit. This echoes how Rockefeller, in his time, commanded refineries, railroads, and every crucial link in the oil distribution chain.
Today, Amazon wields similar dominion over retail, global logistics, and essential cloud computing services. The fundamental playbook remains unchanged, merely adapted to a different century and a new industrial landscape. Beyond vertical control, Amazon also masters horizontal consolidation, systematically acquiring competitors to eliminate rivalry.
Iconic brands like Whole Foods, Zappos, Twitch, Ring, and MGM Studios have all fallen under its expansive umbrella, part of well over 100 strategic acquisitions.
When outright acquisition isn't feasible, Amazon employs a more insidious tactic. It meticulously copies successful products from third-party sellers on its own marketplace, then ruthlessly undercuts their prices, weaponizing the very sales data those sellers provide.
Amazon analyzes this invaluable data, pinpoints lucrative products, swiftly creates its own Amazon Basics versions, and then leverages its platform to promote these in-house brands prominently above the original innovators. This is the chillingly effective modern iteration of Rockefeller's infamous price wars. It is a strategy that is entirely legal, barely regulated, and devastatingly effective in crushing competition. Moving on, we see how Google has adopted Rockefeller's pioneering corporate trust structure.
Today, Alphabet stands as a vast holding company, presiding over a sprawling empire that includes Google, YouTube, Waymo, DeepMind, Verily, and dozens of other seemingly disparate subsidiaries.
This mirrors the very blueprint of the Standard Oil Trust, a single, powerful parent company orchestrating the operations of numerous ostensibly separate entities. This ingenious structure offers multiple advantages. It shields the parent company from direct liability, facilitates complex tax optimization across various jurisdictions, and, crucially, renders any attempt at regulatory breakup incredibly complicated, as each subsidiary can claim technical independence. The pharmaceutical industry, too, has masterfully adopted another of Rockefeller's potent tactics: regulatory capture. Rockefeller understood that true power wasn't just competing within markets, it was about fundamentally shaping the rules of the game itself.
He relentlessly lobbied for railroad regulations that overtly favored Standard Oil, and collaborated with politicians to establish kerosene quality standards that only his advanced refineries could meet, effectively locking out smaller competitors.
In our era, pharmaceutical giants employ identical strategies. They strategically fund the FDA through substantial user fees, fostering a symbiotic, almost dependent relationship.
They aggressively lobby for patent extensions, safeguarding their monopolies for decades, and incredibly, often play a key role in drafting the very regulations by which they are ostensibly governed. Companies like Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson exemplify this model. Merck and countless others have absorbed Rockefeller's core lesson: control the regulators, and you ultimately control the entire market. The financial sector, too, is profoundly shaped by the holding company structure.
J.P. Morgan Chase, for instance, operates as a massive holding company encompassing Chase Bank, J.P. Morgan Investment Bank, and a multitude of other subsidiaries. The same applies to Bank of America, Citigroup, and many others.
Wells Fargo, all behemoths built upon the holding company principle. When the Dodd-Frank Act attempted to rein in banks following the 2008 financial crisis, the complex holding company structure proved an almost insurmountable obstacle. Regulators grappled with the question: which entity do you regulate, the seemingly untouchable parent or its labyrinthine web of technically separate subsidiaries? Rockefeller, remarkably, had solved this exact problem over a century earlier. Banks, 100 years later, simply copied the solution he devised in 1882, proving the timeless efficacy of his system. And then there's his final, arguably most subtle innovation: philanthropy. In 1913, John D. Rockefeller established the Rockefeller Foundation, a masterstroke of influence and legacy. Rockefeller, ever the innovator, turned his gaze towards a new frontier: philanthropy. In 1913, with a grand gesture that resonated through society, he established the Rockefeller Foundation, endowing it with an astonishing initial gift of $250 million. In today's currency, that sum would soar beyond $7 billion. Ostensibly, this vast foundation was a beacon of progress, funding groundbreaking medical research, pioneering educational initiatives, and advancing public health across the nation. On the surface, it appeared to be the epitome of charity, a magnanimous act of giving back from one of the world's wealthiest men. But beneath this veneer of benevolence lay a calculated brilliance. Look deeper, and the true genius of this final innovation emerges. The foundation served as an ingenious mechanism for Rockefeller to circumvent exorbitant estate taxes, ensuring the perpetuation of his vast fortune for generations. Perhaps most subtly, it granted him an unparalleled degree of control over the academic landscape, dictating which universities received vital funding and, by extension, influencing the very curriculum and research agendas that shaped the minds of future leaders. Perhaps most importantly, it bought him an invaluable commodity: legitimacy. The ruthless industrialist, the man who had mercilessly crushed countless competitors and earned the moniker of the most hated man in America, was meticulously rebranded as a benevolent philanthropist, transforming his public image into that of a beloved benefactor. The Rockefeller Foundation's impact on American society was profound and far-reaching. It directly financed the conceptualization and establishment of modern medical education, transforming institutions like Johns Hopkins University, the University of Chicago, and the renowned Rockefeller University into bastions of a new paradigm. This new model, heavily influenced by the Foundation's grants, distinctly prioritized pharmaceutical interventions and clinical treatments over more holistic or alternative approaches to care. This isn't mere conjecture, it is meticulously documented history. The Foundation systematically reshaped the entire framework of American medicine to favor the burgeoning pharmaceutical model, a system from which pharmaceutical companies, many of them direct descendants of Standard Oil's own chemical divisions, would go on to profit enormously.
Fast forward to today, and Rockefeller's intricate playbook has been adopted and refined by every modern titan of industry. We see it in Bill Gates' monumental Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, a philanthropic juggernaut with over $75 billion in assets, wielding global influence over health initiatives, shaping WHO policy, and directly impacting national governments. Mark Zuckerberg followed suit with the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, and even Warren Buffett, another financial titan, pledged the majority of his colossal wealth to the Gates Foundation.
These aren't merely acts of charity. They are sophisticated instruments for tax avoidance, powerful vehicles for legacy building, and undeniable levers for policy influence. Rockefeller conceived the original model, and today's billionaires have, with surgical precision, perfected it.
The Rockefeller family, far from fading into history, continues its legacy of influence. David Rockefeller, John D's esteemed grandson, passed away in 2017 at the remarkable age of 101. His life was a testament to enduring power, having served as the long-standing chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank and as a founding member of the Trilateral Commission. For half a century, he remained one of the most powerful figures in global finance.
Today, the family's estimated $11 billion in wealth is meticulously distributed across a labyrinth of hundreds of trusts and foundations: the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, the Rockefeller Family Fund, the David Rockefeller Fund, and many more. Through these entities, they continue to shape policy, underwrite critical research, and influence politics, a full 150 years after John D. first ignited the colossal engine of Standard Oil. And here lies the most crucial and perhaps most unsettling revelation. This pervasive system was never designed for escape. Instead, it was meticulously crafted to remain largely invisible, silently weaving its threads into the fabric of everyday life, until you find yourself inextricably enmeshed, already trapped within its elaborate design.
Consider your daily existence. You purchase gasoline, invariably refined by ExxonMobil or Chevron, direct descendants of Standard Oil.
You shop on Amazon, a behemoth that masterfully employs Rockefeller strategies of vertical integration and horizontal consolidation to dominate retail.
You conduct your internet searches on Google, an entity structured much like a corporate trust, echoing Standard Oil's own architecture. With an astounding 92% market share, Google reigns supreme. You pay with your invaluable data, not with monetary currency. Rockefeller, with his acute understanding of leverage and control, would have absolutely adored this ingenious innovation, a monopoly so utterly complete that its users don't even consciously realize they are consistently making a payment. You rely on pharmaceuticals, products of a medical system fundamentally shaped by the early grants of the Rockefeller Foundation. You bank with institutions that have adopted Rockefeller's pioneering holding company structures. And your taxes, ironically, contribute to funding regulations meticulously drafted and influenced by the very industries they are meant to oversee, precisely as Rockefeller engineered.
You bank with institutions that have adopted Rockefeller's pioneering holding company structures, and your taxes, ironically, contribute to funding regulations meticulously drafted and influenced by the very industries they are meant to oversee, precisely as Rockefeller engineered.
This system is a self-perpetuating, perfectly tuned machine. It relentlessly concentrates wealth at the zenith of the economic pyramid. It ruthlessly eliminates genuine competition, ensuring the dominance of established players. It adeptly captures regulatory bodies, bending them to its will. And it skillfully leverages philanthropy, not only to accrue invaluable legitimacy, but also to artfully step-side taxation.
This is not a fanciful conspiracy theory. This is the Rockefeller system. It is simply a sophisticated corporate structure, entirely legal, widely accepted, and meticulously replicated by virtually every dominant company across every major industry.
You are afforded no real alternative. You cannot procure oil from entities entirely outside the vast network of Standard Oil's descendants. You cannot realistically avoid the omnipresent logistics network of Amazon. You cannot truly opt out of a pharmaceutical medicine landscape so profoundly shaped by Rockefeller's foundational grants. You are unable to escape a global banking system meticulously constructed upon Rockefeller's holding company model. You exist, quite literally, within this intricate system, and every single day it diligently extracts wealth from your labor and your purchases, channeling it upwards, consolidating it at the very top, precisely as John D. Rockefeller meticulously designed it to do, as early as 1870.
What truly distinguishes Rockefeller from the other so-called robber barons of his era? Andrew Carnegie built monumental steel mills. Upon his death, U.S. Steel endured, but Carnegie's personal, singular control vanished. Cornelius Vanderbilt constructed sprawling railroad empires. When he passed, the railroads continued, yet fragmented, losing their central command. J.P. Morgan forged immense financial empires. His partners carried on after his demise, but his personal dominance, his singular touch, gradually faded. But Rockefeller didn't merely build an empire, he engineered a system. And systems, unlike personal empires, do not perish with their creators. They evolve, they adapt, they proliferate, becoming stronger, more resilient.
Even when Standard Oil was famously dismantled in 1911 by antitrust action, its core mechanisms didn't die. The vertical integration model, refined and perfected, disseminated across every industry. The trust structure, a legal innovation of its time, transmuted into the modern holding company. The practice of regulatory capture evolved into the sophisticated art of lobbying. And his strategic philanthropy, of course, became the enduring model for countless charitable foundations. Every single cog, every ingenious piece of Rockefeller's grand system was meticulously copied, further refined, and permanently embedded into corporate law, into our tax code, and into the very regulatory frameworks that govern our economy.
Rockefeller himself passed away in 1937, yet his system did not weaken. It became exponentially stronger after his death, precisely because it was no longer dependent on any single individual. It was structural, an inherent part of the economic architecture.
Let's illustrate the insidious mechanism by which this system extracts wealth from your daily life, the illusion of choice it presents. You need gasoline for your car. You stand before a choice: Exxon, Chevron, BP, Shell. Yet all of them operate as price-coordinated oligopolies, direct descendants of Standard Oil, or companies that have meticulously adopted its methods. You are not truly making a choice. You are merely selecting between different branches of the same deeply entrenched tree.
You need to purchase products, so you choose between Amazon, Walmart, or Target. Amazon, through its relentless application of vertical integration, dominates the landscape. Walmart and Target, in turn, are forced to emulate its scale and efficiency, or face extinction. It's the same system, manifest through different corporate entities.
You require internet search capabilities. Google commands an astonishing 92% market share, a figure that actually surpasses Standard Oil's peak dominance of 91%. Yet Google is often not legally categorized as a monopoly by regulators because, superficially, its primary service is free. But you pay with your invaluable data, not with monetary currency. Rockefeller, with his acute understanding of leverage and control, would have absolutely adored this ingenious innovation, a monopoly so utterly complete that its users don't even consciously realize they are consistently making a payment.
You seek social media connection. Facebook boasts 3 billion users. Instagram, also owned by Facebook, now Meta. WhatsApp, again, a Meta property. You are not truly choosing between diverse platforms. You are merely selecting which Meta-owned property you wish to utilize. This is horizontal consolidation, flawlessly executed, precisely mirroring Rockefeller's original blueprint.
You need healthcare. You visit a doctor whose training and perspective have been subtly yet profoundly shaped by a medical system influenced by the very grants of the Rockefeller Foundation. You are prescribed pharmaceuticals developed by companies that ingeniously leverage patents, regulations, and corporate structures pioneered by Standard Oil's early chemical divisions. You pay insurance companies that utilize Rockefeller's sophisticated corporate structures. At every single turn, there is extraction. Every apparent choice is, in reality, a carefully constructed illusion.
Consider the cumulative impact. The average American now spends approximately $4,000 per year on gasoline, another $3,000 per year on Amazon purchases, an estimated $5,000 annually on healthcare costs beyond insurance, and a further $4,200 per year on internet and technology services. This totals a staggering $13,200 per year, flowing often unknowingly into the coffers of companies operating within Rockefeller's enduring system. Over a typical lifetime, this represents an astonishing $660,000 of wealth transfer, not towards innovative startups or thriving small businesses, but directly to monopolistic corporations that skillfully employ 150-year-old tactics to systematically eliminate competition and extract maximum profit.
And you genuinely cannot escape it.
You could hypothetically refuse to purchase gasoline, but the necessities of work and daily life inherently demand transportation. You could choose to avoid Amazon, but its unbeatable competitive pricing and sheer convenience render it almost impossible to circumvent entirely. You could reject Google, but what viable alternative commands 92% of the market share, offering comparable utility? You could disavow Facebook, yet the vast landscape of social connection is largely consolidated and controlled by Meta's platforms. You might even refuse pharmaceutical medicine, but the entire ecosystem of medical licensing, insurance coverage, and deep cultural acceptance are all inextricably shaped by the Rockefeller system.
This, then, is Rockefeller's ultimate, most profound achievement. Not simply that he amassed the greatest fortune in human history, but that he architected a system so utterly pervasive, so inherently self-reinforcing, that true escape becomes an impossibility. A system where every conceivable path ultimately funnels back to consolidated corporate control, where nascent competition is ruthlessly crushed before it can ever truly threaten the entrenched dominant players, where regulatory bodies meant to safeguard the public are instead co-opted to protect powerful incumbents, where philanthropy itself is weaponized, skillfully buying influence that only serves to perpetuate the system further. This is the Rockefeller system, and you are living within its intricate web, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. But here is a critical insight that Rockefeller understood, one that most people tragically overlook. The system isn't inherently evil. It is, above all else, incredibly efficient. Vertical integration dramatically reduces costs across the supply chain. Horizontal consolidation effectively eliminates wasteful and redundant competition. Regulatory capture, while ethically questionable, provides a form of market stability. And foundations, beyond their strategic influence, genuinely fund groundbreaking research that benefits humanity. The system works. It consistently delivers products and services that are cheaper, faster, and demonstrably more reliable than those offered by chaotic, unfettered markets. Standard Oil, for all its monopolistic practices, made kerosene astonishingly affordable for average Americans. Before Standard Oil's efficiencies took hold, kerosene cost a prohibitive 58 cents per gallon. After its consolidation and streamlined operations, the price plummeted to a mere 8 cents per gallon, an astounding 86% price reduction. This was not merely exploitation, it was unprecedented efficiency. Today, Amazon delivers an almost infinite array of products to your doorstep in just 2 days. Google instantaneously answers virtually every question imaginable. ExxonMobil produces gasoline on a monumental scale, fueling global commerce and daily commutes. Pfizer develops life-saving drugs. The system, undeniably, delivers immense value. The fundamental problem isn't that it fails to function effectively. The problem is that it simultaneously concentrates an unfathomable amount of wealth at the very top, while offering tantalizing efficiency at the bottom. You, the consumer, receive cheap gasoline, lightning-fast shipping, instant information, and effective medicine. Rockefeller's heirs and their modern counterparts accrued trillions in accumulated, self-perpetuating wealth. Both of these truths coexist.
So what then is to be done? How does one meaningfully respond to a system from which there seems to be no escape? There are perhaps 3 distinct options. 1, you could simply accept it. In this intricate dance of progress and power, 2 undeniable truths coexist. The system has bestowed immense benefits, offering advanced medicine and unprecedented efficiencies, while simultaneously channeling unimaginable wealth into the hands of those who command it, like the heirs of John D. Rockefeller. So, faced with this undeniable reality, how do we as individuals navigate a system we cannot escape? We are presented with 3 distinct paths. The first option is to simply accept it. Embrace the understanding that consolidation and even outright monopoly are not flaws, but inherent features of advanced capitalism, meticulously designed for maximum efficiency.
We leverage the convenience they offer, ordering from Amazon with a tap, relying on Google for every query, and acknowledging that wealth naturally concentrates at the apex of these powerful structures. The second option is to resist it. This path calls for active opposition, advocating tirelessly for robust antitrust enforcement, conscientiously choosing to support small businesses, even when their offerings might come at a higher cost or with less immediate convenience. It means seeking out alternative services, even if they appear inferior at first, and casting our votes for political leaders committed to dismantling monolithic monopolies. This resistance aims to deliberately introduce friction, making the system less efficient in exchange for a more equitable distribution of power and a less concentrated landscape. The third, and perhaps most pragmatic, option is to understand it and position yourself accordingly. If the system is an inescapable force, then one can choose to benefit from its inherent mechanisms. This involves strategically acquiring ownership stakes, buying stock in the very companies that dominate our modern world. The global energy giants like Exxon and Chevron, the e-commerce behemoth, Amazon, the information gatekeeper, Google, the pharmaceutical titans like Pfizer, and the financial strongholds such as JP Chase. If the system is designed to extract wealth from the many and concentrate it within these formidable entities, then the astute move is to own a piece of those entities.
This is precisely what John D. Rockefeller himself did. He wasn't just a consumer of kerosene. He owned Standard Oil, the extractor. While countless others purchased its products, he accumulated its wealth. You too can follow this pattern, perhaps not on his monumental scale, but proportionally, shifting your position from being extracted from to being an extractor yourself.
This isn't mere investment advice. It's a profound act of pattern recognition. The Rockefeller system, a masterclass in wealth concentration, has operated relentlessly for a century and a half. It persists because its very architecture is woven into the fabric of corporate law, enshrined in tax codes, and reinforced by regulatory structures.
To fight against such an entrenched force is undoubtedly noble, yet it is an exhausting, Sisyphean task. To escape it entirely is frankly impossible. Therefore, understanding its mechanics and strategically positioning oneself within its confines becomes the most pragmatic response.
John D. Rockefeller, who passed away in 1937 at the ripe old age of 97, lived long enough to witness the dramatic arc of his creation. He saw Standard Oil, once fragmented by antitrust, reconsolidate its power and witness its pioneering methods infiltrate and dominate every conceivable industry.
He lived to see his vast philanthropic foundations reshape the landscapes of American medicine and education, leaving an indelible mark. And most tellingly, he lived to see his own grandchildren, including David Rockefeller, ascend to the pinnacles of American finance and industry, testament to the enduring power of his meticulously crafted system. He built a legacy that would not only outlive him by a century, but seems destined to outlast us all. This system, defined by vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, the ingenious corporate trusts, the subtle art of regulatory capture, and the strategic deployment of philanthropic influence, began with the audacious ambition of Standard Oil. From there, its tendrils spread, first to steel, railroads, sugar, and tobacco, then evolving to automobiles, electronics, pharmaceuticals, and ultimately the pervasive realm of technology. Today, it stands as the dominant force in virtually every sector of the global economy, an omnipresent structure from which there is no escape. One can only strive to comprehend its intricate workings. Rockefeller famously declared, "Competition is a sin." While most hear this as a statement of sheer greed, for Rockefeller, it was a theological conviction. He believed competition to be fundamentally wasteful, an unnecessary duplication of effort that ultimately destroyed capital. Conversely, consolidation, in his view, was righteous. It fostered unparalleled efficiency, delivering lower prices to consumers, a virtuous cycle, he argued. Thus, monopoly, far from being a predatory act, was simply the natural, most efficient end state of free markets. This was the bedrock of Rockefeller's worldview, and he dedicated his life to building a system designed to enforce it. Fast forward 150 years, and we are living squarely within that system. Amazon systematically eliminates retail competition, just as Google has effectively monopolized search. Meta, under Mark Zuckerberg, commands the vast expanse of social media, while the triumvirate of Exxon, Chevron, and BP maintain an iron grip on global oil supplies. Pfizer, Merck, and Johnson & Johnson wield immense power in pharmaceuticals, and the financial world is steered by giants like JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Citi. The relentless consolidation that Rockefeller initiated has indeed reached its logical, if unsettling, conclusion. The modern economic landscape isn't characterized by a chaotic multitude of thousands of competitors. It is defined by a curated few, typically 3 to 5 dominant players in every major industry, each operating with remarkable precision, utilizing variations of Rockefeller's enduring playbook.
And the process continues unabated. With each passing year, fewer companies exert control over an ever larger share of the market. Barriers to entry for aspiring newcomers soar to unprecedented heights. The system, relentless in its evolution, becomes progressively more difficult to escape.
This is not merely the story of Standard Oil. This is the Rockefeller system itself, the enduring method. And this method is eternal, precisely because it works. If this exploration has unveiled a system you previously overlooked, if you now grasp that the gargantuan corporate structures dictating so much of your daily life were painstakingly conceived and constructed by one visionary man a century and a half ago, then I urge you, subscribe to this channel.
Because understanding the system, seeing its invisible gears turned, is the crucial first step. While you may never truly escape the Rockefeller system, you can indeed perceive it. And the act of seeing, of truly understanding, changes everything. John D. Rockefeller forged a system from which there is no escape. Vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, corporate trusts, regulatory capture, and philanthropic influence. That very system is the modern global economy, and you inhabit its intricate web every single day. Welcome to Rockefeller's world.